Welcome to the Deep Dive podcast, where we refuse to just skim the headlines. In the world of enterprise software, the stakes are too high for fluff. You need to know what's really going on beneath the surface.
Whether you're looking at a complex software implementation, improving your accounting controls, or a new security protocol, you need to understand how things really work when the rubber meets the road. I'm Ryan Caldwell. I'm here to help break down those complex ideas and systems so they actually make sense for your day-to-day.
And I'm Morgan Hale. I'm here to keep us focused on the big picture and ensure we get straight to the actionable insights you need to lead. Together, we'll talk with you like the advisors you'd hire to overhaul your tech stack.
We call this the Deep Dive. We are exploring the tools that power your business, from accounting and real estate to high-stakes security.
So if you're a CEO, a franchise director, CFO, or CTO, and you're looking for thorough analysis, you've found your home.
Let's get into it.
Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to try something a little different. I want to play a game with you. I want you to close your eyes. Unless you're driving, please keep them open. But just, mentally transport yourself.
We're setting the scene.
Exactly. You are sitting in a boardroom. It's got that long mahogany table, the expensive chairs, a view of the city skyline. You're a C-suite executive at one of the massive legacy real estate franchises. We're talking the giants. The big blue or the big bold balloons, Remax, Century 21, you name it.
The heavy hitters.
Yeah.
But the mood in this room, it's not celebratory. It's tense.
Incredibly tense, because you have a problem that, frankly, no amount of Super Bowl ads can fix. Your best people, the franchise owners who actually drive your revenue, are drowning, and the sharks are circling.
And those sharks aren't just other old-school brokerages. They are the new-age competitors. Side, Inc., EXP, Realty.
Real brokerage.
Right. And here's the thing. They aren't stealing your people with better marketing or nicer blazers. They're stealing them with something much more boring.
Right.
But so much more dangerous.
Operational relief.
Exactly. So that's our setup. We're the consultants, you're the board. And the source material we're working with today is a confidential strategic document. It's a version 2 business plan, actually, dated February 2026. And it pitches this strategy called back office as a service.
Which sounds, I have to say, dry as toast.
It sounds dry, I know, but the document argues this is actually a fight for the soul of the franchise owner. It's about saving them from their own business.
Okay, so let's get into the pitch. We have to start with the problem. The document calls it the broker-owner trap, which I found fascinating. It really breaks down the psychology of the people running these offices.
It's the core conflict. I mean, think about who buys a real estate franchise. They're almost never professional managers or CPAs.
Sure.
They're rainmakers. They're the top 1% of sales agents who decided, I want to build an empire.
They're hunters. They love the deal. They love the negotiation. They live for that adrenaline rush of the close.
Precisely. But the moment they sign that 10-year franchise agreement, the trap just snaps shut. They inherit the one job they're statistically worst at and the one they usually hate the most. Accounting. And the source material highlights this administrative grind consumes, get this, 15 to 25 hours per week of an owner's time.
That's half a work week.
It's half the week, and it is the worst half. So instead of recruiting agents or selling homes, they're stuck in the back office figuring out why a trust account is off by 3 cents. They're miserable.
I want to push on that for a second because I think it's easy for people outside this industry to just dismiss accounting as a chore. Everyone does. I mean, I run a business. I have to do books. Why is brokerage accounting described as a nightmare? What makes it so special?
That is a great question. And it is the key to understanding this whole crisis. If you run, say, a shoe store, the math is linear. You sell a shoe, you collect money, you pay for the inventory. Done. Real estate brokerage is a web of cascading variables.
Give us an example of that web.
Okay, so take a single $10,000 commission check that comes in. Before the agent sees a dime, you might have a referral fee off the top to another brokerage.
Okay.
Then you have the franchise royalty fee, let's say 6% off the gross. Then you've got the agent split. Maybe they're at 70%, but maybe they just hit a cap on this deal, so they bump to 100%.
And what if they're on a team?
Then it gets even worse. You have to split the money between the team leader and the team member, but maybe at a different ratio. Then you deduct the errors and omissions insurance fee, maybe a charitable contribution.
A single transaction can have 15 different ledger entries.
And a decent office, say a 30-agent office, might process 400 unique commission calculations a year. If you mess one up, you've got an agent screaming at you.
Right.
And if you mess up the trust account, where you hold the client's earnest money, you don't just get yelled at, you lose your license.
That is the invisible cost the plan mentions, isn't it? It's not just the hours spent, it's the opportunity cost. There was a stat in there about production drop-off that just, it blew my mind.
This is the most shocking part of the whole analysis. Let's take a broker who's capable of doing, say, 10 million in volume personally. That generates about $250,000 in GCI.
Gross commission income, right?
The data shows that when they take over the office operations, that personal production often drops to near zero.
So they're literally trading $250,000 in revenue to save money on a bookkeeper.
Essentially, yes. They're trading $250,000 in income for the, quote, privilege of saving maybe $60,000 on a salary for a professional. It is terrible math, but they do it because they just don't trust anyone else with the complexity.
And this leads right to the defection risk.
Yeah.
If I'm that broker and I'm drowning in spreadsheets and a company like Side comes along and says, hey, we'll do all of that for you, I'm listening.
You are absolutely listening, and you're leaving. And when that franchise leaves, they take their agents, they take their volume, and crucially for the people in our boardroom, they take their royalty payments.
Yeah.
The franchise loses everything.
Okay, so the pain is real. The house is on fire. Now let's talk about the water hose. The proposal is low friction back office as a service. Vast. But the document is very specific about what this is not.
This part is critical. The history of real estate franchises is a graveyard of expensive, failed tech projects. I mean, look at Realogy, Berkshire Hathaway, Compass. They spent hundreds of millions trying to build these proprietary end-to-end platforms.
They tried to be software companies.
And they failed. Agents didn't adopt the tools, the software was clunky, and it burned massive amounts of capital. This proposal takes a buy, don't build approach. It says, do not try to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
There are proven multi-tenant brokerage software platforms on the market right now. We license one, we staff it with experts, and we sell the outcome, not the tool.
That feels like a huge strategic pivot. It's not, here's some software, good luck. It's, here's a team, go sell houses.
Exactly. It's a service layer. And the low friction part is vital. The plan emphasizes we are not replacing the transaction coordinator, the TC.
That's the person in the local office, right? The one who actually manages the file.
Right. And brokers love their TCs. The TC holds the agent's hand, make sure the signatures are there. If you try to centralize that, you get a revolt. This plan says, keep your TC. Keep your local culture. Keep your workflows. We only step in after the file is closed to handle the plumbing.
So the agents don't notice a change. They're still talking to the same people.
Yes. The front-end experience does not change. We're just the invisible pipes working in the background.
Okay, so let's walk through the mechanics. What are the 3 pillars of this service?
Pillar 1 is complete accounting. This is the heavy lifting. We calculate the splits. We handle the direct deposits, aiming for 24 to 48 hours, which keeps agents happy. We do agent billing, tax-ready financials.
So the owner never has to touch a commission worksheet again.
Never. Pillar 2 is legal and compliance. So that covers E&O insurance administration, license management, audit readiness, all the scary stuff.
And pillar 3?
Bulk purchasing power. This one seems like a no-brainer for a franchise, but most don't leverage it enough. Every owner buys CRM software. Every owner buys for sale signs. If we negotiate as a group of 500 offices, we get pricing no individual owner could ever touch.
I want to get into the weeds of the workflow, because for a skeptic in that C-suite, the question is always, how does it actually work? Paint me a picture, a day in the life.
Okay, imagine a deal closes on a Tuesday. The local TC who's still in the office uploads the completed file to our centralized platform. That's it. That's where the local work ends.
And then the central team takes over.
Yes. Our team reviews the file. The system automatically calculates the split based on the preloaded agreements. It deducts the royalty, deducts the $50 desk fee the agent owes. They hit a button, and the agent gets a direct deposit.
And the owner, what do they see?
The owner gets a push notification on their phone. Deal closed at 123, main St. agent paid, net profit to company, $800. They see the win without having to do any of the work.
There's a specific feature in here called the company card. It sounds minor, but the document spends a lot of time on it. Why is a credit card so important?
It's a brilliant little operational hack. The franchise issues a corporate card to the broker owner, but it's integrated directly into the general ledger software.
So it's not just about getting airline miles.
No, it's a compliance tool. One of the biggest nightmares in small business accounting is commingling. Owners mix personal and business expenses all the time.
Oh, yeah. Buying groceries on the business card, client lunch on the personal card.
It's a chaotic mess.
Yeah.
And it makes audits a disaster. With this integrated card, when they swipe for that client lunch, it automatically categorizes as meals and entertainment in the accounting system. No more shoeboxes full of receipts. It forces a hard wall between personal and business spend.
It sounds like this whole thing is really about de-risking the business. Which brings us back to the trust account. You mentioned it's a high-risk area.
It's the single biggest source of anxiety for owners. In many states, if your trust account where you hold other people's money is off by a single dollar, the real estate commission can shut you down.
That is terrifying.
It is. And most owners are just crossing their fingers that their part-time bookkeeper knows what they're doing. By centralizing this, we're taking that liability completely off the owner's plate. That peace of mind alone is worth the price of admission.
Speaking of price, let's talk money. We are pitching to the C-suite. How does this compare to a competitor like Side?
This is the killer stat. Side's model is a percentage split.
Right.
They typically take 10% of the gross commission to handle the back office. So on a standard $12,500 commission, Side keeps $1,250.
Wow. That adds up incredibly fast if you're doing any volume.
It adds up to about $19,950 per agent per year. That's their cost. Now look at our proposal. We are charging a flat fee based on office size, not a percentage of the win.
Okay, so break it down. What's the damage for a small office?
For an office with 1 to 10 agents, the proposal is $750 a month. That's $9,000 a year total.
Wait, $9,000 total for the whole office, not per agent?
Total. That comes out to about $900 per agent per year. Compare that to Side's $20,000. It is literally 5% of the competitor's cost.
And for a big office, say 100 agents?
The fee is $4,000 a month. That drops the per agent cost to under $480 a year.
That is aggressively cheap.
Yeah.
But I have to play the cynic here. If I'm that franchise executive, I'm looking at these low fees and thinking, where's the profit? I mean, we're barely covering costs at $750 a month. Why build this if it's just a break-even service?
And you just hit on the most subtle yet powerful part of this whole pitch. The document calls it the owner production multiplier. You don't make the profit on the service fee. You make the profit on the result of the service.
Walk me through that math.
Okay. We established earlier that owners stop selling because they're too busy being janitors for the business. If our service gives them back 20 hours a week, what do?
They go back to selling houses.
Right. The plan uses a conservative estimate. If an owner closes just 15 incremental transactions a year, and remember, these are former superstars, so 15 is nothing for them, that generates about $187,000 in new GCI for them.
Okay, great for the owner, but how does that help the franchise?
Because the franchise collects a royalty on every dollar of that GCI, usually around 6%. So that 6% royalty on the new production equals about $11,000 to $15,000 in extra royalties per owner per year.
Ah, I see it now. The service fee just keeps the lights on. The royalty on the Liberator production is where the real profit is.
Exactly. And when you scale that, the aggregate impact, if we get, say, 325 offices enrolled, that incremental royalty revenue exceeds $3.6 million annually. The franchise makes millions simply by freeing the owner to do what they do best.
That's a very compelling argument. We're not just selling a service. We're unlocking trapped revenue.
And we are creating a strategic moat.
Let's talk about that moat. The document mentions multi-tenancy and benchmarking. I feel like data is a buzzword everyone throws around, but how does it actually apply here?
Multi-tenancy is just a fancy way of saying everyone is on the same software. Right now, every franchise owner has their own little QuickBooks file on their laptop. The franchise headquarters has no idea what's really happening in real time.
It's a black box.
Correct. But if we move everyone onto this central platform, suddenly the franchise has apples-to-apples data. We can see revenue per agent, commission expense ratios, profit per transaction across the entire network.
So I can actually tell an owner in Ohio, hey, your rent expense is 20% higher than similar-sized offices in your region.
Exactly. You become a consultant, not just a bill collector. And this creates a massive lock-in effect. If an owner wants to leave the franchise, they don't just lose the logo. They lose the dashboard that tells them how they rank. They lose the bulk pricing. They lose the accounting team that runs their entire payroll.
It makes leaving really, really painful.
It creates golden handcuffs. The analysis shows that reducing franchise turnover from the current, say, 8 to 12% down to 3 to 5%, saves millions in retained royalties over just a 3-year period. You keep the offices paying you because they can't imagine operating without you.
Okay, the C-suite is nodding. They like the money. They like the retention. But now the COO, the person who actually has to do the work, raises their hand. How do we pull this off without crashing the system? What's the implementation roadmap?
This is where that buy, don't build philosophy saves us. Since we aren't building software, we can move fast. But the rollout has to be phased. You do not flip a switch for everyone on day one.
Phase 1 is build.
Right. This involves hiring a director of brokerage accounting. And the plan is specific. Don't hire generic accountants. You need people who already understand the weirdness of real estate splits and caps. You need specialists.
And then phase 2 is the pilot.
Yes. We pick 15 to 20 friendly offices, and we run parallel books for 60 days.
What does that mean, parallel books?
It means their local bookkeeper keeps doing what they're doing, and our team works in the background, and we compare the results down to the penny. We don't turn off the old system until the new system proves it's perfect.
That seems prudent. But what are the risks? The biggest one that jumps out at me is cultural. I mean, independent business owners usually hate the word centralization.
That is the biggest psychological hurdle. If this feels like a takeover, they will revolt. The mitigation strategy is all in the positioning. It has to be optional. And the message is, we handle execution, you keep control.
So we're not taking their money. We're just processing it for them.
Correct. And we address the security concern with strict role-based access. An owner in Florida can't see the data of an owner in Texas. The franchise headquarters only ever sees the aggregates. The autonomy remains, but the burden is removed.
It really is a reframing of the whole franchise value proposition.
Completely. It shifts from you pay us royalties for a brand name to we provide the infrastructure for you to be profitable. And in a market where brand matters less and less, infrastructure is the new king.
So let's summarize this pitch for the board. We're proposing a back office as a service layer. It's a low-risk pivot because we're buying proven software, not building it from scratch.
It saves the franchisees real money, anywhere from $26,000 to over $100,000 a year compared to doing it themselves.
And it generates new revenue for the franchise through that owner production multiplier, which might be the smartest part of the whole plan.
And perhaps most importantly, it stops the bleeding. It finally gives us a real weapon to fight back against Side and ESOP.
It's a strong pitch. So we leave the C-suite with this on the table. But before we wrap up, what's the one thing they need to be thinking about as they leave the room? If they're hesitating, what's the final argument?
I would leave them with this thought. The risk here isn't that this project fails. The risk is that you do nothing.
Inaction is the real danger.
Absolutely. Your best owners, the ones driving your royalty checks, they're smart. They are waking up to the fact that they're spending 20 hours a week doing a job they hate. The risk is that they realize that somewhere else, they don't have to be accountants anymore. They can go to a competitor and just sell. Can you really afford to let your top talent drown in spreadsheets when you have the power to throw them a lifeline?
That is the question that defines the future of the franchise, isn't it? It's a choice between evolving or becoming a dinosaur.
And frankly, looking at the numbers in this plan, the evolution looks a lot more profitable.
I couldn't agree more. That is a wrap on our deep dive into the back office revolution. It's a fascinating look at how unsexy things like accounting can actually be the key to survival. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
That's our show for today, exploring the idea of back office as a service.
It's a strategy for legacy franchises to increase their revenue while increasing their franchisees' revenue at the same time.
Join us next time for another deep dive into an interesting, timely, or just plain complex topic in the world of enterprise software.